Hello, everybody. My name's Matthew Wood with companionshipper.com. I'm coming to you live tonight, about an hour outside of Idaho Falls, Idaho. The weather's kind of a little snowy. The roads are a little icy. I've got one of my rescue dogs with me that's on his way to Calgary, Canada, that came all the way from Los Angeles, California. This is Eli. He's actually taking care of a little itch right now. I'd like to introduce to you one of our breeders that we work with. This is a gentleman named Francisco Ruiz that breeds AKC registered French Bulldogs.
Here are some fun facts about French Bulldogs. The French Bulldog, also known as the Frenchie, is a small, stocky breed with a playful and affectionate personality. Originating in 19th century England, French Bulldogs were bred from English Bulldogs and were originally used as ratters in textile mills. They were later popularized in France, where they were bred to be smaller and more refined.
Okay, so this is Subi. We've had Subi, I want to say, maybe for about 4 years. She's going to have a litter sometime this year. You can tell she's getting a little big right now. She'll have them towards the end of this month. And she has given us 8 puppies in one litter. And she's a beautiful black and tan French Bulldog.
She seems pretty social, too.
Yeah, no, she's very nice. We named her Subi off of my son's, he liked Subaru cars.
Oh, nice.
The Subaru brand, so he named her Subi.
How are you doing tonight, Francisco?
Very good, thank you.
Awesome. Well, I'd like to ask you a few questions that some of our customers might have an interest in. The first one being, how long have you been a dog breeder?
We've been breeding about 5 years now.
Awesome. So what breed, I may have covered this, but what breed do you specialize in?
We specialize in exotic French Bulldogs.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I know a lot of people have asked me about that specific type of breed, and they're hard to find out there. So what inspired you to become a dog breeder?
So we got into it because my son started breeding them, but then he got married and moved to Portland, Oregon. He left me with a bunch of dogs.
Wow. So you kind of like walked into it, one of those unexpected things, and it turned into a business for you.
Exactly. And the thing that got us is that we love the French Bulldogs. My wife's totally in love with the dog. So it became like a hobby.
Yeah. In fact, I get a lot of questions about those on my transports and people asking me if I know anybody that breeds quality French Bulldogs. So what do you think sets your breeding program apart from others?
Well, like I said before, we specialize in the exotic French Bulldogs. So they're very pretty. We deal with like Merles and Lilacs and Isabellas, which are a rare part of the Frenchie family. They're like the top of the line.
Yeah, and that's what I've gotten a lot of questions because that type of French Bulldog, actually, I've seen just from experience how rare they actually are. So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
How do you ensure the health and wellness of your puppies?
Well, before any puppy leaves, obviously we do a health check with our vet, and we make sure that they have all their vaccinations and they're up to date. And we do provide a health guarantee. So the vet does, I forget how many questions or how many points, but they do a full examination on the pup, make sure the pup is healthy before he leaves. And we also provide a guarantee that if anything happens or, anything that unexpected, obviously we would replace the dog with another dog.
Man,
if
that's
something
good to hear.
ends up being wrong. But it's very rare.
Yeah, that's really good to hear. Do you recommend that people take them to a veterinarian actually? How soon after they get them as far as for their shots and stuff like that?
So the next set of shots is at 12 weeks. So when they leave at 8 weeks, they'll have the first set. and then at 12 weeks they get the second set. So yeah, that would be the time to bring them to the vet.
Okay, and I know from experience of doing transports, a lot of times when the puppies have just had their first set of shots, that the breeders recommend that we keep them kenneled and just change out potty pads and stuff like that so that they're not exposed to any other animals on the transports.
Yeah, that's important. You don't want them to catch anything on the way home.
Okay, and are your puppies socialized and exposed to different environment before going to their new home?
So what we do is, obviously we have other dogs in the home and they're exposed to, the whelper and other dogs that are in the home, but not really anywhere outside of the home. You want to keep them protected, especially when they haven't had their shots yet. You kind of keep them isolated from other dogs, or, you don't want them to catch anything before they have their shots.
Yeah, and that probably goes along with the point that I'd made, where I've just from seeing it in the past, where if they've only had their first set of shots, to just keep them isolated in the kennels. We make sure that the kennels are sterilized, that each time we stop for fuel or a rest break for the other pups, that we change out their pads, just to ensure that there's no chance of them catching anything along the trip.
Yeah.
What kind of health guarantees do you provide with your puppies?
So like I said, we do the health check, and if anything is wrong with the dog after the health check, you never know. Not all dogs are perfect, so if something comes up with the dog within the first year, they can definitely let us know, and we'll replace the dog with a healthy one. But it's very rare that anything happens with our dogs. We haven't had any problems.
Another fun facts about French Bulldog. Did you know that French Bulldogs are popular in France, hence their name? They are also popular in other parts of Europe and have gained popularity in the United States in recent years. Did you know that French Bulldogs have a playful and energetic personality, and they are known for their love of playtime and toys? They are also very affectionate and love to be with their owners, making them a great companion breed. That's all. See you in our next segment as I guide you through some fun facts about our beloved dogs.
Okay, Francisco, how do you ensure responsible pet ownership?
That's a good question. You never know who you're selling the dog to unless you ask the customer some questions, and just making sure that, it's a right fit. Sometimes it's hard to tell, especially if the person has other dogs. You just kind of, French Bulldogs require a lot of attention. They're very loving dogs, so you just want to make sure that they're going to a good home.
And what kind of advice do you offer new puppy owners?
So I do ask them if they had French Bulldogs before, and but as far as advice, it's kind of, I really don't have any advice other than they're really good dogs and they require a lot of love.
So they're very social with probably their family that they end up going to.
Exactly.
So in considering Subi, how do you ensure the health and temperament of your puppies?
So it's interesting because you can start telling that each puppy is different. They have their temperaments, their attitudes. You can start, some are very calm, Subi's very, very mellow. But puppies can vary. You have some feisty ones, you have some mellow ones, you get one of every kind, especially when you have 8 puppies.
Yeah, I can attest to agree with that, because on the transport sometimes you get a dose of what each puppy's personality is based on how they ride in the transport vehicles.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what type of contract do you offer for the sale of your puppies?
Yeah, so in a contract, what we typically write is, depending whether or not the buyer gets the breeding rights, then we want to ensure that if they're going to breed the dog, they can only breed the dog with a good qualified dog, to keep the genetics and to keep the dogs healthy. Because sometimes you can breed a good dog with a dog that's not healthy, and then you're going to have puppies that are not healthy. So in our contract, we want to make sure that if they are going to breed them, that we know who they're going to breed them to before it takes place. Or we also offer studs that we know are good studs in case somebody wants to buy a dog to breed it themselves. We provide those services as well.
That makes perfect sense, and I'm sure that gives people peace of mind when they're purchasing a puppy from you.
Exactly.
So, do you offer a health or genetic guarantee?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Every puppy has a health guarantee.
Would you be able to provide references from previous buyers?
Oh, yeah. We have a lot of happy buyers that would gladly give us a reference.
That's great, because I know even in the transport business, that's really how we get most of our clients is through referrals and people that have read reviews on our service in the past. So it makes perfect sense. Do you provide any support or advice after the puppy has gone to their new home?
Yeah, so if the customer has any questions, they're free to call us anytime. We'll help and do whatever we can to just to ensure that everything's going well. And sometimes we'll check up with the customer, call them, just to make sure everything's going well.
Awesome. What type of food and supplies do you recommend for the new puppies?
So we've been really, we've had good success with the dog food. It's called Blue Buffalo. And every time we sell a puppy, we send them with enough food for a few days. And we let the customer know this is what we've been feeding the dog. This is what we recommend. But obviously, sometimes, people choose to change it up. And, sometimes when you change their food, they could get sick for a couple of days, but then, they'll be okay.
Yeah, and I've seen people where they'll mix whatever the new food is with the previous food that they were using, and it kind of helps a little bit with that sometimes. And the last question I've got for you tonight is, how often do you have new litters available, Francisco?
So we practically have about 6 females that we own, and we practically have a litter every other month. So we're expecting 2 litters this month, and then we'll have another female inseminated within 30 days.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, Francisco, I'd like to thank you for allowing us the opportunity to interview you tonight and find out about your French Bulldogs. And I'm sure that we'll have lots of clients that are interested in contacting us and you about possibly purchasing one of those when the 2 new litters are available.
That's beautiful. Yeah, we'd love that.
Awesome.
It's been great meeting you guys.
And you as well, Francisco. Thanks a lot for your time tonight.